By one interpretation, Mansfield had been collateral damage. She died because she was in the car with the cursed Brody, exactly as LaVey had warned. In the wake of Mansfield's death, LaVey found himself even more in demand for interviews and profiles. Throughout 1967 to 68, he continued cultivating his devilish image. He boasted to Look magazine that he had served as a technical advisor on the hit film Rosemary's Baby, even claiming that he had personally played the devil during the movie's impregnation scene. In a similar vein, LaVey encouraged rumors linking the Church of Satan to the burgeoning counterculture chaos. When the notorious Manson family murders occurred in August of 1969, for instance, journalists couldn't help but note that one of the Manson killers, Susan Sadie Atkins, had been a performer in LaVey's circle. Indeed, Atkins had worked as a topless dancer in 1966 at a short-lived occult-themed nightclub show LaVey produced in San Francisco, known as The Witch's Sabbath. In this grand burlesque, Atkins portrayed a vampire who drank blood on stage, a role chillingly apt given her later crimes. After Atkins fell in with Charles Manson and helped butcher actress Sharon Tate in 1969, writing pig in Tate's blood on the door, LaVey didn't miss the chance to mention that she was one of his former witches. LaVey simultaneously denied any connection to the Manson murders, while slyly fanning the notion that the evil vibes of the 1960s swirled around him. Always, he walked the line between sincere occult philosopher and carnival huckster, keeping public intrigue alive. By the end of the 1960s, Anton LaVey had achieved global notoriety as the high priest of the Church of Satan. To ensure his ideas were understood and to profit from the curiosity he had ignited, LaVey set out to publish a book laying out the tenets and rituals of his new religion. In 1968, sequestered in the Black House, he began compiling essays, aphorisms, and ritual scripts into a single volume. The result was the Satanic Bible, released by Avon Books in December of 1969. Part manifesto and part occult handbook, the Satanic Bible became the defining text of LaVeyan Satanism. In its pages, LaVey spelled out his 9 satanic statements, a direct rebuke to the Christian 10 Commandments. These statements glorified indulgence, vital existence, and the undefiled wisdom over abstinence, spiritual pipe dreams, and self-deceit. For example, the first statement proclaims that Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence, and another, Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. The last, as LaVey loved to quote, was, "Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had. He has kept it in business all these years." LaVey pulled no punches in his contempt for conventional religion. He asserted that Christian ethic was anti-natural, demanding that people suppress their true desires and feel guilty for being human. Satanism, by contrast, would restore man's carnal pride. He framed it as a rational answer for those who couldn't swallow the hypocrisies of mainstream faith. "There is a bit of Satan in us all," he wrote, meaning the urge to reject herd conformity and follow one's path. Crucially, the Satanic Bible also provided detailed instructions for LaVeyan rituals and magic. LaVey divided magic into 2 categories: lesser magic, everyday manipulation and charm, and greater magic, full-blown ritual spells. He firmly maintained that magic was mostly psychological, a means of focusing one's will, but he allowed for the possibility of unknown forces being tapped into. The book describes rituals for 3 main purposes: lust, to enchant a desired one; compassion, to help someone or oneself; and destruction, to curse an enemy. LaVey's destruction ritual in particular garnered attention. It involves crafting a doll or an image of the target, focusing hatred upon it, and declaiming the desired curse out loud. The book became an unexpected commercial success. Priced cheaply in mass-market paperback, The Satanic Bible sold through over 1 million copies in the years to follow. It spread LaVey's gospel of indulgence to curious youth and established the Church of Satan's canon. With his philosophy now codified, LaVey continued expanding his satanic literature. In 1971, he published The Complete Witch, a for witches only guide to lesser magic and manipulating men's desires. Essentially, a satanic take on seduction and self-help for women. In 1972 came the Satanic Rituals, which provided additional ceremonial scripts, some drawn from global mythos. During this period, LaVey's public activities gradually shifted. In the late 60s, he had thrown open the Black House to journalists regularly, relishing the limelight. But by 1972, he grew more selective. The Church of Satan's membership was spreading beyond San Francisco. Local chapters or grottos were established in other cities, led by deputy priests, and LaVey wanted to ensure the seriousness of his movement. He officially curtailed public access to rituals at the house in 1972, announcing that future ceremonies would be private or held by regional grottos. The core group in San Francisco continued meeting behind drawn curtains, but the new era of media-invited black masses was largely over. LaVey was also aging out of the flower power zeitgeist, and by the early 1970s, the hippie movement he despised was fading and a more cynical mood prevailed. On August 8th of 1969, the very night of the Manson murders, LaVey had conducted what he called a hippie funeral at the Black House, burning an effigy of a hippie and a ritual curse on the counterculture. Within 24 hours, the bloody Tate LaBianca murders by ex-hippies seemed to signal the dark end of the summer of love, and a coincidence not lost on LaVey or others. One arena where LaVey remained active publicly was the entertainment world. Ever the showman, he enjoyed consulting on occult-themed projects. In 1970, a documentary film crew was allowed to film Church of Satan ceremonies, resulting in Satanus, The Devil's Mass, a 1970 film. This film, which played in grindhouse theaters, gave audiences a voyeuristic peek at LaVey's nude altars, bestial sigils, and campy blasphemies.
Gorgo, Mormo, thousand-faced moon, look favorably on our sacrifices. Shamham Parash.
Shamham Parash.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Open wide the gates of hell, and come forth by these names. Adremelech.
Adremelech.
Astaroth.
Astaroth.
Moloch.
Moloch.
Viewers were equal parts shocked and amused. One of the best scenes features LaVey's bemused neighbors chuckling about the nude people dancing and the pet lion they'd seen in his yard. In 1971, LaVey also made a brief cameo appearance in a low-budget horror film, Invocation of My Demon Brother, directed by avant-garde filmmaker and fellow occultist Kenneth Anger. And in 1975 came LaVey's highest-profile movie credit. He served as the technical advisor for The Devil's Reign, a Hollywood horror film about a satanic cult. The production crew flew LaVey to Mexico for the shoot, where he trained the actors in ritual gestures and even played a small part on screen as a satanic priest. On set, journalists found LaVey in his element, striding about in a cape under the desert sun. He hinted to a reporter that his master plan was coming along. "Before I die," he said, "an elite force of Satanists will rule the world." If nothing else, by the mid-1970s, Anton LaVey had cemented himself as the iconic face of Satanism in the popular imagination, the bald-headed boogeyman lurking behind all that America found transgressive. Though LaVey outwardly projected confidence in the 1970s, the Church of Satan faced internal strains. As the initial flush of media curiosity waned, LaVey turned more to administration and monetization of his movement. In early 1975, LaVey announced a controversial policy. Higher degrees of satanic initiation could henceforth be obtained in exchange for financial contributions, rather than solely through merit or magical achievement. This did not sit well with some devoted members who believed in Satanism as a serious religion. They felt LaVey was reducing the left-hand path to a carnival show, or worse, a mail-order racket. The tension came to head in June of 1975 when Michael Aquino, a prominent member who edited the church's newsletter, resigned dramatically. Aquino, an intellectual U.S. Army officer and ceremonial magician, had long been part of LaVey's inner circle, but had deeper theistic beliefs about Satan. He was disillusioned by LaVey's new pay-to-play policy and what he perceived as LaVey's atheistic stance that Satan was merely a metaphor. After quitting, Aquino founded his own splinter group, the Temple of Set, which espoused the worship of an ancient Egyptian deity known as Set as a real supernatural entity. Aquino claimed that he took many dissenters with him from the Church of Satan, though LaVey downplayed the exodus. The Church of Satan later insisted that LaVey's fee-for-rank policy was intended to clean house of pretenders who didn't fully grasp LaVey's self-reliant philosophy. Regardless, the schism marked the end of the Church of Satan's first era. Never again would LaVey's organization enjoy the momentum or unity of the late 1960s. From 1975 onward, the Church of Satan operated more as LaVey's private network rather than a bustling public congregation. LaVey himself retreated from the limelight as the 1970s continued. He focused on writing essays, later compiled into books like The Devil's Notebook, and composing darkly whimsical organ music. He released an album, Satan Takes a Holiday, in 1973. He also indulged in personal eccentric hobbies. Yet, the outside world had not entirely forgotten LaVey. In the early 1980s, a new and unwelcome spotlight found him. The era of the Satanic Panic. As fundamentalist Christianity rose in political power, and the public developed an irrational fear of devil-worshipping cults, and supposedly ones that were abusing children, LaVey, the world's most visible Satanist, became a frequent target of suspicion. Fundamentalist preachers railed against him by name, and conspiracy theories flourished that the Church of Satan was behind a nationwide web of criminal ritual abuse. In truth, LaVey's organization was both theoretically opposed to harming children. One of his 11 satanic rules was to not hurt little ones, and far too small and disorganized to run any sort of criminal network. Nevertheless, he was associated with Satan in the public mind.